What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Warzone. Today we're getting into something that, you know, kept me stuck for a long time. Is the self-deception, the lies I kept telling myself. Not the lies I told other people. Those were easy. They still affected me, but definitely the lies I told myself. And I'm talking about the ones that I actually believed, because addiction isn't just using. It's convincing yourself everything's fine when your life is falling apart. And I've lived there for a long time. Too long. I used to tell myself things like, I've got this under control. I can stop whenever I want. It's not that bad. Other people are way worse than me. And the crazy part, I believed it. Even when I was losing everything, I still had a way to justify it in my head. I was my own lawyer forever in my life, in my own head, justifying everything I did. That's the dangerous part of addiction. It rewires how you see reality. You don't think you're lying, you think you're surviving. It's anything to protect that dopamine hit, that fix, that escape, whatever it may be, right? For me, it was many things, mainly drugs and alcohol, but I do have some co-addictions. It's funny because it was always like, oh, I'll never try that drug. And then I did it. Then I'm like, oh, well, it's okay because, I need to experiment. Or that person's doing it, so I can do it. Or I still have a job, or, I still have a nice vehicle. It was always justifying it, and it was just bullshit lies I was telling myself. Right? I'm like, oh, at least I'm not doing this, and then I was doing that same thing. Like, it was just I was a walking contradiction. So yeah, but there was a moment for me when that lie stopped working, and it was like I had everything materialistic, right? I had a pretty girlfriend at the time, a great job, six-figure salary, nice truck, you name it, just all these materialistic things. But I was still this scared little boy inside who hated myself, who felt like a victim to the world, and you know everything needs to be my way. And you know what? Drugs are the only way I can cope with with the things that happen to me. And I was very rigid in my mindset. And I had all these things. I had lots of things going for me, and all I could think about was, how to like off myself, right? I was miserable every day, and I was just trying to fill that void with anything and everything except the actual medicine of what I call today. Like it's a spiritual remedy which helped me. And there's many other ways. I'm not telling you go find Jesus, right? Triple Jesus right here. I'm saying find something that works for you, right? For me, it was Joe Dirt at first, and then it just kind of evolved from there, right? And I say Joe Dirt, that might be kind of funny to some because yeah, it was kind of funny, but life's a garden. Dig it. You can't have no in your heart. You got to keep on keeping on. Like I lived by that shit, and I'm still alive today partly because of it. And that was what I clung on to. So whatever you need to cling on to, that is actual medicine, not drugs and alcohol, but actual medicine for the soul. Cling on to that, because yeah, I had all these things, and I was just like, man, like, gun to my head, like I wanted to pull the trigger, and instead of pulling that trigger, I think I was 19 at the time, and it was like 3 a.m. and yeah, I had the whole plan. I had the weapon and everything. And instead of that, I just, I texted my dad, and I think I said like, I don't know anymore. And then he replied, drugs question mark, and I said yes. And that was the moment where like I kind of stopped lying to myself. Not completely. I still lie to myself today. I'm still delusional sometimes, but it was that moment which you know got me onto a path of making a change in my life, because that started the process of me going to treatment, right? Treatment's a part of my story. It doesn't need to be part of everybody's story, but it's a part of mine. So I'm telling my story. And yeah, that got me into treatment. And And it's funny, like I said, I'm a walking contradiction. When I was in treatment, I was lying to myself more than ever. I was like, oh, yeah, I have a drug problem, but I don't have a drinking problem. And I don't know, like it's sure that could possibly, very unlikely, be true for some people, like who suffer from the disease of addiction. To me, that was just me lying to myself, right? Me in a desperate plea to protect something that I've been doing my whole life to protect me in some way, to, shove down the feelings that I thought would kill me. And feelings don't kill you, but I promise the drugs and alcohol will. Um, and yeah, I was completely dishonest. I wasn't there for the right reasons. I was I wasn't congruent. I wasn't authentic. I wasn't anything. I was just counting down the days to just go out. And looking back at it, I really see that, I blame the treatment center. I was like, this place is a fucking cult. And no, that place was amazing. It really was. Right. And it was me. I was the problem. And the problem was internally. And I still have that problem. Right. But I can regulate it a little bit better today. And I could recognize it. And, I can be accountable for it and admit when I'm wrong. That's the gifts of recovery. Yeah, so I got out of treatment and, I was like, I'm going to do it my way. Sure as shit. Like, I ended up relapsing and then, back into the depths of friggin' hell. I'm trying not to swear as much. I'm practicing that. I'm in full-time school. I'm working and trying not to swear in those environments. So I'm now going to try and not swear when I'm, you know, in my zone too. But fuck, it's hard. Um, yeah, so where was I? But yeah, no, I relapsed fucking back into the depths of hell. And it got way worse. I picked up right where I left off, and then I went hyper speed into another galaxy and just stayed there in this like psychosis state of like shadow people. They were my best friends. They didn't lie to me, they didn't cheat on me, they didn't abuse me, they didn't rob me. Yeah, the shadow people were, it's pretty sad to say that the shadow people were, my best friends. And not to say I didn't have good friends, I did, but a lot of them were sick of my shit because I was a lying, thieving, junkie. The shadow people didn't really give me feedback, right? They just tried to scare me sometimes. So thinking about all that, I was like thinking to myself, having that tug of war, like, I have a problem, and like, oh well, like it'll just go away. And then I was like, man, I don't even believe myself anymore. Like I can't, like the delusion was in delusion. It was like delusionception, and it just like kind of snapped me out of it for a little bit. And yeah, I ended up going to treatment again because I loved it. No, treatment, like I'm gonna say it sucked, but it really didn't suck. When I was in there in the time when I was first getting clean, um, yeah, it was pretty hard, right? Because I had to look into the mirror, not just at my face, which yeah, I hated that reflection too. 110 pounds of a skeleton, right? But also like the mirror that reflects your soul and like my values, my beliefs, my core negative beliefs, and like my limiting beliefs and of everything that kept me stuck in addiction, because that's what addiction does. It's it's sometimes quicksand, sometimes it's like, cement, which is still really bad, but you sink a little slower and like less quicker. So yeah, that was a heavy place for me to be when I was like admitting to myself that again. And this happened more than twice. I had this internal monologue way more than twice, but just for story purposes, trying to keep on track. That's a heavy place to be because when once the lie cracks, you got two choices: double down or face the truth. Double downing does not work. No, that led me to overdoses, hospitals, heart attacks, broken relationships, and more low self-worth, low self-esteem, and more just self-hatred. Or you can face the truth, which is also scary, but I've developed, I don't like saying self-love, that's too deep for me. I'm still a work in progress, but still a masterpiece. Who says you can't be both at the same time? um so yeah, face the truth, right? And I because of that, I have the life I have today. I have the best relationship I've ever had with my family. My parents, my brothers, my niece, my dog, absolute angel, right? My friends. I've learned boundaries. I've learned just tools to get me out of that animalistic behavior I was in for so long. And, we don't lie to ourselves because we're weak. We lie to ourselves because the truth hurts, right? It's sometimes like for me, I was in fantasy land. I was in delusion. I don't know. I don't know what word to say after that. I was in delulu delight. Like the truth hurts. And I've been delusional about relationships, about myself, about my, drug and alcohol usage, about my gambling, about my relationship, about everything in life. And it was only when I started to get clean and started to work on myself where I've been able to leave that delusion and, gain some clarity. Let the fog lift. And even saying that, like, I can breathe better, like I can get a breath of fresh air and not like I don't feel the restriction in my chest anymore, because that is the truth, and that's what worked for me. Maybe you're clinically unique, I don't know, right? But there's no bad thing that can happen for someone getting help. Sure, you might fail. Okay, pick yourself back up and do it again, right? Do or die is pretty much what I had to do. The truth means you've hurt people. You've lost control. You might need help. That's a hard pill to swallow. But listen here, buddy. If you're anything like me, you've swallowed endless amounts of pills, not even knowing what they were. So maybe try your best to swallow the pill of life, the pill of acceptance, right? The pill of willingness. Instead, we protect ourselves with denial, because denial feels safer than change. Denial feels safer than anything in that moment. That chaos gets addicting. That chaos feels safer than change. My nervous system felt safer in chaos than it did in, a Zen garden. I'm like, what the fuck am I doing here? What are these people doing? And they're just trying to care for me, right? And it's like a peaceful area, and I'm like, these guys are up to something. It's my paranoia kicking in from all the drugs. But here's the truth. Denial keeps you stuck. The truth sets you free. Liberating. Freedom. The shackles have broken, like Aladdin. But it hurts first. The truth sets you free, but it hurts first. And, I mean, if you're struggling with addiction, I already know you're a sucker for pain. Right? Sure, the truth sets you free, but it hurts first. That's a different kind of pain. But man, you've been living in pain for a very long time, just medicating it in different ways: drugs, alcohol, women, men, whatever your vice is. Like that's a different level of pain. It really is. And today, those people I've hurt, I've got the option to make amends to the best of my ability. I can't change the past, but I've got the power to be a better version of myself today than I was yesterday. That's a fact. And we're all human. I'm nothing special. I'm not like, I'm pretty deadly, but we're born with this capability, right? Sure, other people might have a little bit of a different journey. Like I struggle with mental health issues. I struggle with a lot of things, but yeah, I'm just trying to be a better version of myself, and that's all I can do, right? People might not forgive me. I'm still trying to forgive myself for a lot of things. Like I said, work in progress. And what changed everything for me was, just finally getting honest, but also like staying honest, remaining honest. Because it's a daily thing, man. I could wake up tomorrow and just bullshit my fucking way through living my own life, and that will lead me back down a bad path. Nothing built on lies has a good foundation. It's going to crumble. Like that's maybe not a fact. I don't know. I'll have to fact check that. Someone fact check me, but that's my experience. So I guess it's my truth. Haha. Getting honest with myself, like everyone else, yeah, that's a process I'm now doing, but mainly with myself. That's one of the first things I needed to do. I have a problem. I need help. And yeah, right? There's no shame and asking for help and getting help. Like, I definitely couldn't do this by myself. Like, I've been suffering in silence and struggling alone for so long, not because people didn't try to help me, because I wouldn't let them. Pride kills. My false pride, my ego. Yeah, like that almost took my life too, just because I'm too proud. I'm too, oh no, I'll get a bad name. Well, your name doesn't really matter if you're dead. I mean, it does in a sentimental way. Like, oh yes, Warren will be remembered. He was mega deadly. But like, to me, I'm dead. So, right? Fuck your name. Like, live your life. Give yourself the best possible opportunity, the chance. And if you don't like it, at least you tried, right? It always can lead you back to trying again. I didn't do this on my first try. I'm far from perfect, okay? I'm far from perfect. But again, I can still be a masterpiece. Yeah, I had to admit that I'm sick. I don't have control. I need help. I'm powerless. Powerless doesn't mean weak or anything. Get that bullshit out of your head. I'm powerless. When I take that first drug or drink, there's no telling what I'll do. And I've proved to myself time and time and again. And some people might be in different stages of their addiction, because cunning, powerful, baffling, and also sneaky. I said that earlier. It's like it waits for the perfect time to strike, and then strike you deep and hard and bring up your biggest insecurities and tell you that the only medicine is just to numb it completely with whatever your poison is. I had to admit though, this isn't working anymore. And that's where like a good foundation of my recovery really started. I mean, it was when I got clean, but like I needed to get clean first to experience that, the admitting part. Like, well, I mean, I knew I didn't have control, but like doing it in a clean, clear state of mind, it held more gravity to me, right? Of like, okay, I'm saying this clearly, not just because I'm on a low and feeling shitty about myself and the world and life. It's saying it and believing it, not just saying it for lip service to please your parents, girlfriend, boyfriend, sisters, cousins, third uncle, whoever, right? It's when you stop lying to yourself. If you're like me and lied to yourself your whole fucking life, it doesn't happen overnight. I still work on it daily. Like I'm in no way an expert or a therapist. I'm just some dude who's lived through this gracefully. Not gracefully. No, that's the wrong choice of word. Like, very fortunately, I am here today, to share my strength, experience, hope, my stories, my my stims, ADHD, maybe a touch of the tism. Okay, I'm getting way off track. If you're listening to this right now and there's a voice in your head saying, it's not that bad, ask yourself this. If it really wasn't that bad, why does it keep coming up? Why does it keep affecting your life? Why are you even questioning it? That voice, that's the crack in the lie. That's where change can begin, right? Non-alcoholics, non-addicts, they don't really have that internal monologue saying like, shit, I feel like an addict. I feel like an alcoholic. Maybe once at like Christmas every like 8 years, but not every day or every week or every month. I mean, just, food for thought. I'm not calling you an addict. I'm not calling anyone here an addict or an alcoholic. This is a time for where you can reflect and you can make that decision and maybe go get diagnosed by a professional. I don't know. But like, if you think you have a problem, reach out. There's no shame in that. If anything, that just shows that you have courage in you. Because for me, yeah, it was scary. I had so much fear. I was terrified, right? People already thought the worst of me. I thought the worst of myself, but I was still afraid. I'm like, well, I don't even know what I was thinking. I just, maybe it was just me and my addict brain lying to me, saying like, no, don't trust them. They'll ruin your life. Well, bitch, man, the fucking crack was ruining my life. Like, shit. But yeah, thanks guys. Thanks for coming. This is the Warzone. I hope there's audio and the picture and the Jesus and the nice shirt I have. Yes, that is me. Handsome devil. Well, not a devil anymore. I've changed my ways. But yeah, thank you. Thank you for coming to the Warzone. If this hits you, share it with someone who needs to hear it, right? Maybe they don't need to hear it, but maybe you want them to hear it. Just like, subscribe, share, follow, anything we got to do to carry the message, right? Because, a lot of people are still stuck believing the same lies I once did. Maybe you once did too. And if you're in it right now, you're not alone. You're in the middle of a war, and trust me, trust him. Okay, I was pointing to a higher power, but also trust Jesus. But trust whatever being is out there, the great mystery, creator, Buddha, right? Whoever, Joe Dirt. Trust. There's a way out. Thanks for coming by. I'll see you guys next episode.